Listen, only if you've been a survivor of a narcissist can you understand why Miss Zaina used that QR code on the back of her nail. Stay tuned. I feel like I'm losing my mind. All right, welcome back to another episode of Haire. Today we are talking about episode 10, the reunion, the end of Ultimatum season 3. We're going to be talking about each couple. We're going to be talking about the lack of couples. It's just Mika and Miss Chanel ain't there. But we're going to be talking about all of that today. My overall review at the end. First things first, thank you guys so much for supporting me. You don't understand how hard it is to still be doing end of the month and doing clear hair, and I really appreciate your support so far. So first things first, first couple, Mariah and Caleb. So Mariah, everybody's looking good on the reunion. Outfit wise, Sandy looks like she's wearing lingerie. Zaina's outfit's okay. Mariah looks rich. I don't know, describe. Mariah looks rich. Aria looks good, but the body has always been T, period. Scotty's wearing a Dolce & Gabbana jacket. JR is looking still present. Gross. Why is he still here? But anyway, so we're gonna go into Mariah and Caleb. So far they showed us like pretty much a montage of like their last year of being married. Being engaged the first time. First year after being engaged, and you know they're showing all these nice little movies, and then enters Aria. And Aria comes through, and she's just like, "No, let's talk about how you watched and viewed my stories, Caleb. Let's talk about that and how you denied all your emotions." My first impression of it was the fact that it's giving bitter, because later on, Aria's just like, "Oh, your relationship's so fake," and da-da-da. I was like, not you watched that whole montage and said, "Oh my God." So anyway, so after all that, Caleb finally admits, he said, watching it back, we did have chemistry at that point, and I feel like I was just too afraid to, out of respect for Ryan, to state that, even though it was as plain as day that we had chemistry towards each other. And, I do apologize for that. And you can see kind of how like Aria like breathes a sigh of relief, but also a sign of aggravation, because then after that she says, "Your relationship is so fake." I was like, now what do you know? This is the part that sent me, because like, how do you know what's going on in someone's relationship? Like, I'm not trying to be mean, but it's all about it's not about what's going on. It's not about what's taking place. It's always been about perception. What does it look like? So they have a bunch of pictures of them smiling left and right, and apparently Mariah, this is news to Mariah, that Caleb found, unblocked her, viewed her story. But then Caleb also goes on to say, well, I viewed Zaina's story too. And I was just like, baby boy, we're all grown-ups here. It's very easy to sit there and be like, okay, let me just view every person in the group so it don't seem like it's nothing. Like, so I can make it seem like it's nothing. So I feel like it was a nice closure for everyone. I feel like it was closure for me, because I feel like Caleb did not want to, Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder saw how your relationship was going. Like, I wanted him to just admit it on the show earlier, but like I said, there was just such a respect for Mariah that he didn't want to. And then come to find out, thank you, Cleopatra. Come to find out, for 2 hours every night, Mariah was calling Caleb while he was with Aria. So he would go into the bathroom, and like they would spend their sessions, and they're just emotionally connecting. So Aria feels like she didn't get to really truly have a connection with him, because what's the point of building a connection with someone when they just end up having that person intruding and impeding on them back to back. So I feel like she felt some type of way because of that. And then what else did I put down? I just felt overall with Mariah and Caleb, like I said, I was wrong about them. I'm a grown up. I can admit when I'm wrong, but they truly look smitten with each other. Can I use that word? They truly look smitten with each other. I don't see, there's nothing about the relationship that gives fake. There's nothing about the relationship that gives like they're trying to put on for anybody, but it definitely gives genuine. I feel like this was a refresher for both of them to see how good they actually have it compared to other couples, right? So speaking of other couples, so Arya and Scotty, apparently they're not engaged, child. I peeped it because when they were sitting on the couch, I didn't see no ring. So come to find out, it turns out that a day after, not even 24 hours, so like right after, you know, Scotty was like, let's start calling people left and right. Arya was like, actually, matter of fact, no. So Arya ended up breaking the engagement off not even 24 hours later. So they're actually not together. That's why I felt like when they came in, I knew there was tension between the two of them, but I thought it was because Scotty's a meanie head. But it was the fact that they're not together anymore. It's probably one of the first times of them seeing each other. So they tried, like after that, like trying to go, you know, he ended up moving to Cali, wherever she was at, he ended up moving there to try to make it work. And then she was like, I'm only gonna come back, we're only gonna be one getter if we go to therapy. And like not till right before the show, he was like, actually, I want to try. So you know, there was a lot of that going on. You know, Arya started tearing up, and I did notice a particular behavior from Caleb where I can sense him, like I can sense like the exhaling from him that he was, you know, he's emotionally tied to this woman. So I feel like I could sense that like he was getting upset about it as well. So Caleb, you do have an emotional tie to her, because to me, it's kind of like whenever I see my niece is hurting, like I actually do hurt as well physically. So when you have an emotional tie to somebody like that, that means there's some type of emotion there. So you need to address that, because I'm not saying that if someone else cries, you don't care, you know, but it comes to find out, unfortunately, Arya's grandmother is not on this plane, and she ended up having a baby that wasn't on this plane as well. So there was a lot of emotional side there that she was going through personally. You know, Scotty has a fear of rejection, so I feel like to me, I feel like he didn't have the tools. Does that make any sense? Like, I don't want it to be where people think I'm being mean, but there's some people that are just not good with those things. There's no amount of training, no amount of therapy. Like some people, they're just not good with big feelings, you know, and that can come in from childhood where it was never truly, they never really figured out how to do it. But I don't believe that Scotty is the person for her, and she said that, and that's why she turned it off to whatever later. So, you know, Arya goes again saying, you know, talking about Caleb texting her, which honestly, I feel like the Caleb situation, the way it went down was, like I said, as someone who used to have a lot of guy friends before I blossomed, now they're coming to me as men. Hey, I just wanted to come to you. Shh. Anyways, but as someone who has guy friends, I can tell you this is what happened. So I feel like Mariah probably went off on Buddy about something. Mariah went off on Caleb about something, and he was like, oh, I wish I could, oh, dang, I wonder how Arya's doing. And he probably went on her page and he viewed her video like an idiot. You're supposed to view the pictures and not click. That's how you know he's not a good stalker. That's how you know he's a good man. He's not good at lying. So he views her video. He's like, oh crap. Let me try to let me go and view Zaina's thing, so it looks like I'm just viewing like the old friends from the group. And then he got greedy and was like, okay, let me look at another video. It's like, oh crap, let me just block her so I can stop messing with her. And then he unblocked her because he wanted to still have access. Like he's still a man at the end of the day. Like men want access. Like I literally just side tangent. I literally had a guy who I talked to we were talking when I was like 19. This is 14 years later, and he's like, I just want to know how you're doing. I was like, how'd you get this number? Like literally, men want access forever. It's just that's just how they roll, you know. So he could easily delete and blocked her, but he didn't. But you know, she definitely started comparing Scotty to Caleb. But I also feel like there was, with their relationship, I also feel like there was almost she tried to force relationships. She tried to fast forward feelings and then let them naturally develop. Because I feel like he was the first person who was truly, you know, nice to her in a very long time. Because she's been with Scotty for a little bit, and I feel like she could have misconstrued those feelings. And I feel like Caleb wasn't in a good point to where he even felt comfortable exploring those feelings anyway. So I feel like Scotty needs to go back to therapy and get more help, because he said he was doing therapy. And I feel like Arya needs to truly just be by herself and deal with what happened. Because like to have those two major events, I wouldn't even talk to anybody for 2 years, but that's just me. All right, so we're gonna we're gonna skip JR and Zaina because it's too long. So we're gonna go on to Sandy and Nick. So basically, come to find out. So we start finding out Sandy and Nick, they tried to still get one getter with each other after. They still tried to get with each other after it happened. Like Nick still called her and tried to hang out and try to see what they could do, which was weird because like maybe it's my avoidant attachment style. So we'll talk about it in psychology, but just real quick, avoidant attachment style is basically once in childhood, if a child tried to bond with the parent and the parent wasn't there emotionally, they in that same aspect, they have avoidant attachment style to not have, because that level of trauma is so big for a kid that as they grow up, they just learn to not attach themselves to somebody, or when it's time to let go, they can truly cut them off. That's why, I'm growing as a person too, but I don't understand going back to exes. I don't go back to exes. I don't know how to do that. Like, I'll give you 100 chances in one, and then after that, you'll never hear from me again. I'll never talk to you again. Like, maybe that's why I keep getting people pop up, because a normal person, not me, a normal person would have it where, oh my God, I can't stand that person, and block them and then be like, all right, you ready for lunch tomorrow? That's not me. Once I cut you off, I cut all the way off. So maybe that's what I need to focus on in 2026. I see how I skipped a year, and maybe in 2026, that's what I need to focus on. But yeah, basically, I'll make sure I have my notes in here, but basically Nick needed to go to rehab because come to find out, Nick also does, he also plays in the snow. Okay. He plays in the snow and he uses drinking as well. So apparently confirmed by Dave and Vanessa, because Micah and Coco Chanel did not want to show up. So Vanessa confirmed that Nick started drinking the night that he found out that Sandy and JR were together. And then like after he found out that they kissed, he definitely started drinking. She said it's not my story to tell. And I'm just like, then whose story is it to tell? Y'all keep saying that. But basically, what ended up happening was that like he was so inconsolable that when she would try to comfort him, like he would lash out. Of course, something that could easily be alcohol driven or snow driven. So I feel like that was very crucial to find out. And I feel like that was very crucial to find out. I really like that we got the receipts from Vanessa. And she said she felt uncomfortable, so she called her boo thing Nick. And, they started talking to each other, which to me, I felt like they didn't really have a connection, more like a trauma dump. But yeah, he started drinking and crashing out and playing in the snow. And then Dave went on to say, oh, this experiment was unnecessary. And he said this experiment's unnecessary, and he felt like he didn't really need to go on an experiment. And Dave, I actually love the fact, it says that he's half Cuban on his Instagram, and I'm just like, okay. Dave, I love that Dave's on the show. Dave is a perfect example of the average man. He's a perfect example of the average man. He is. He's a perfect example of the average man. He's a perfect example of the average man, because the average man thinks he has more options than he does. So a lot of the time when men sit there and drag their feet is because they think they have multiple options. And with women, we've been socialized and conditioned to think that we don't have as many options. But when Dave kept getting turned down left and right, I promise you, if he would have connected with Arya, or Arya would have connected with him, oh my God, I love this experiment. You're just gonna have to deal with him. You have to deal with him, Vanessa. And the gag is, Vanessa and Dave are still not engaged. They're like, we started having conversations that we weren't having before. And, I was like, girl, he is 34 years old. I'm done talking. I would have been done talking. 34 years old and you still don't know if you want to marry me or not. I'm done talking. There's nothing else to talk about. Anyways, but so after that, they're still not engaged. So Sandy and Nick, they're not together, but Sandy said that Nick was torturing her, following her everywhere, which, like I said, press charges. but Nick actually is seeing someone, even though he needs. I hope that's French for seeing a therapist, because he's not done with his work yet. So JR and Zaina, first things first, we need to tag Zaina's manicurist. So basically, when the whole thing of like the whole issue was the fact that who told JR that he was here for a hall pass, because so she puts her thumb up like this. I have a chip on my finger. I was just like, girl, why? Okay, your nail's broken. Like, do you want us to call an EMT? No, it's a literal chip. Like, she had a QR code on the back of her thumbnail right here. She had a QR code on the back of her thumbnail. And basically, Nick Lachey comes and takes a photo from it. He's like, oh, okay. And he comes and takes a photo from it. And basically, he comes and takes a photo from it. And then basically, it has the receipts of like, who says I'm here for a hall pass? And, Scotty wasn't talking trash about you, but, we just want to know who was here for a hall pass. Meanwhile, they go roll that beautiful bean footage, and they have all the proof of he basically saying he was here for a hall pass, he's alluding to a lot of adult activities on each other, so he alludes to that a lot. And so afterwards, after she's revealing everything, all you see is JR in the corner snarling. I don't want to snarl because I don't want the wrinkles, but he's in the corner snarling. Like, he's like, child, you fool, this is my final form. Like, I don't know if he's gonna morph into something or digivolve. Like, child, I don't know what he's doing in the corner, but he is losing it in the corner. Because, like, unless you've been, like I said at the beginning, I was like, unless you've been a survivor of a narcissist, you have to understand what narcissists, you need to plan to go to war, because you can't win with a narcissist. Like, to them, this is how you know you're with a true narcissist, where you feel like you can't win. Like, you feel like you can't win. There's no, okay, well, I have proof. Like, you have to have proof. Like literally plain as day, you have to have proof. So turns out that JR started a rumor about himself and got mad for no reason. And he started that argument to get into Scotty's head, which I believe, I definitely believe. Like I said, like I told you before, like, I have my 2 or 3 Scorpios are locked, but most Scorpios I know are very manipulative. Very manipulative. They do not like being told they're wrong. Very secretive, and lies for no reason. But wants you to be faithful and truthful. They want you to do everything that they're not doing. So I'm not surprised at all by his behavior. At all. Like, I try to stay away from that sign, baby. So anyways, I have on here that, so JR and Zaina actually still try to work it out afterwards. And she actually did, for his birthday, she got a massage at the Ritz-Carlton, and he was just like, oh, I didn't actually do that. But he didn't stop her either. Because to me, for example, so I was at a job out in the past. I'm just going to say in the past, so you guys, I had a job in the past, and I had a coworker buy me diamond earrings. And I didn't accept it, because I know one thing's for certain, 2 things for sure. One thing my dad taught me from get-go. He said, men do not do nothing for no reason. If they give you something, there is something they want in return. Everything with men is transactional. My dad put me on, okay? And he's right, because I know if I would have accepted these diamond earrings, 2 carat, by the way, they're huge. I would have accepted these diamond earrings. I know that this person's gonna either expect me to go on a date with him, or expect me to start giving special treatment. Like, literally, I did nothing to this man but say good morning, and he bought me diamond earrings. That's it. Never touched him a day in my life. And a lot of people don't understand that, like, you can stop people from doing things because you have common sense, right? He could have easily like, hey, don't even do anything big for my birthday, because I don't want you to feel as though like we're together when we're not, and he's still processing. And so basically it came to her birthday, Pisces for her. So basically she said, oh, I don't want to do anything for my birthday. He said, no, I'll do something. So he literally said, let's go to dinner. The day of her birthday dinner, he canceled. And he said, oh, I got sick. I was like, oh my God, typical Scorpio, lying for no reason. At the end of the day, it was for revenge. I feel like JR is punishing her for calling him out, like a typical narcissist would. Narcissists do not like being called out. That's why when people say, what's the remedy for narcissists? I was like, no contact. That's it. Like, it's like, no offense, but like, it's like a cancer. Like we have to do chemotherapy. There's no, okay, maybe I can eat this or eat that. There's nothing you can do but get rid of it, but by any means necessary, right? So him calling her for dinner, he literally like and canceling, and he said, "Oh, I'm sick." BS, because there's plenty of times where I had a friend who was sick, and I had a friend, it was her birthday, and I got sick. I don't know, I got sick that same day. You know what I did? I sent her a Cash App and said, "Here's your dinner amount." I think I gave her like 100, and I was like, "Happy birthday," because I couldn't go there, but my money could. Okay, if I'm not gonna be there, my money will be there. All right, but I actually care about that person. He does not care about you. Like, I don't understand. So I have on here, so the day before the experiment, fun fact, so the day before the experiment, come to find out, a girl sent Zaina some DMs. Because like I said, with women, like, we have a tendency that, baby, we gonna speak. So a woman sent her DMs of him basically flirting with her. And she was just like, well, how come someone sent me a DMs of somebody flirting with you or blah, blah. What are you going to say about that? And I thought that was hilarious, because it's just like, he still denied it. Like, you're not going to win with the JR. So when they showed all the videotape, but like when they showed the little gag reel of him basically alluding to adult activities with the opposite sex, everybody was just like, well, what? Well, like, no one was safe. Like, he was, feeling on people already. And then here comes Sandy coming in, because now she looks like an idiot, because you're with someone who doesn't care about anybody. And she's like, I just, like, I gotta give her that. I gotta give her that. She know how to produce she know how to procure some crocodile tears when she has time to. She was like, I thought I was special. And essentially that's what she's saying. I thought I was special. No, you're not. You're the biggest dummy. Like, people be saying, like, sometimes, that's why I said, like, marriage and having kids are not like it is. Like, I say to women all the time, like, don't be so adamant about getting married, because sometimes the person who's married is the biggest dummy he knows. Like, how many rappers we know that are consistently cheating on their wives, and y'all like, oh, she's so lucky. How is she lucky? Like, you're the dumbest one he could convince to do this. And that's not saying there are some. I've seen some beautiful marriages, like, in my life. I've seen some, like, you can just tell, like God made these two together and they just found each other. Like, literally, there's some people, like, I can just tell, like, God did his thing. Like, he literally created them. But, like, I'm telling you off rip, like, it is perfectly okay to find out that you aren't special, but don't sit here and play in our face and act innocent, because you thought you were getting one over on his ex because she's beautiful. Like, I promise you, the fact that, like, people don't understand that women have a triangulation process when it comes to attraction. Ooh, where they'll see that you're attractive and they'll try to get with your man. Vice versa. For example, like when J-Lo went out, not J-Lo, when Ariana Grande went out at Pete Davidson. When she went out with Pete Davidson, his stock market went up. When Kim K went with him, his stock market doubled. Like, women use triangulation. It's like, okay, well, you were with him, but he's with me now, so you ain't all that. I promise you, Britt had in her head that someone as beautiful as Zaina, I'm going to definitely get this over on her. And once she's found out that it backfired, and he's just a thirsty, dehydrated marsupial who has no conscience, now all of a sudden it's like, I just messed up. I just feel like, yeah. Like I said, don't be like, that's the one thing I would say. I was like, don't be in such a rush to get married and have kids with certain men. Like, it's literally like, they'll be bragging, but in their house, they'll be alone. And that's not trying to be that. I'm not trying to be a cynic today, but I'm just keeping it real. Like, do not be so adamant about that. Like, it's the same thing with, no offense, but it's the same thing being an adult. Like, I remember being a teenager, like, I can't wait till I'm grown. No one can tell me what I do. As someone who's been an adult for the last, 15 years, I'm 33, the review is low, okay? Like, yeah, no one can tell you what to do, but if you don't do something, you're not going to get, you see these lights want to be turned on? This crown would have been bought. Like, there's like a lot that comes with that. So, I don't know. I just feel like so many times, like, we look into that, but my overall review of Ultimatum is, I need 4 more seasons. This is the most each season gets more entertaining because the lies are getting worse. But definitely for sure, keep it in your mind next time when you see a nice backdrop. That means that person's not gonna make it. That means that person is not gonna make it. So that means that person's gonna propose. So don't forget to subscribe, share. It's Claire here.